Hi there, good noon, and welcome to yet another practice session where now we've started to get a little more traction, a little more regularity towards our CAT preparation. अब तो एक आध ऑल इंडिया मॉक भी हो गया है ना? So we've gone through an all India mock by now. Hopefully some of you have taken advantage of that and went on to write it, and hopefully in the process learned a few things that are really important, really cool, really relevant. So let's go ahead and dive into this particular session. But before that, if you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe so that you get to attend all the sessions that we bring your way. We actually bring in quite a few sessions, and as a result, if you have not subscribed and you've not turned on the notifications, chances are that you would actually miss out on quite a few of those. I mean, yeah, I know it's YouTube, you can watch the recordings, but when the session is being delivered live, it has its own advantages, right? You can go ahead and ask your questions, clarify your doubts. And in case you are absolutely new here, my name is Vikrant and I'm your coach for all things related to English and communication skills. I also help you with the mental aspects of the preparation. So let's get into it. So something from the legendary Michael Phelps for you to ponder over. I mean, somebody who has so many Olympic gold medals under his belt that you can just dream of it. There will be obstacles, there will be doubters, there will be mistakes, but with hard work, there are no limits. And nobody, of course, knows it better than Michael Phelps, who used to spend hours and hours and hours every day in the pool, and after that, quite a few hours on the dining table trying to fuel his body. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and dive into our questions. The very first set is a passage followed by 5 questions. It's a fairly challenging passage, so I would probably put it as a moderate difficulty level passage. For some of us, maybe it will be moderate to difficult. I will take you through it paragraph by paragraph. Please be with me, and the moment you're done reading the paragraph, do let me know in the comments so that I can take you over to the next slide. So starting with this. Okay, next. Okay, taking you to next. Okay, next. Okay, next paragraph. And here is the question. So we're done with the passage. Can you give me the most suitable title for this particular passage? Okay, so this is basically what? The most suitable title of the passage question. So it's your typical main idea question as we put it. So let us start diving into the options. So A says neoliberalism, a century of disappointment. But then the passage does not give you a long list of the negative fallouts of neoliberalism. So there aren't very many of these. And therefore, A can be eliminated. Reappraising neoliberalism. This can be the answer. The passage defines and then gives us the characteristics of neoliberalism, talks about the supporters and the critics in one of the paragraphs, and thereafter it moves over to Quinn Slobodian's take. So in a way, the author is bringing in a new perspective that will help us see neoliberalism in a new light, and therefore B can be the answer. So let's keep it in running. How about C, neoliberalism, the only path to prosperity? I think the moment you see this only, you can eliminate it. In fact, there have been criticisms as well, so to call it the only path to prosperity will also be a problem. Then D, capitalism and democracy, the two incompatibles. Well, it is given in one of the paragraphs as Quinn's view, but then it cannot be termed the main idea. The focus is not on proving that capitalism and democracy cannot go together. It is one of the points that have been stated. So to that end, I will probably mark it as narrow, and that makes B the best answer choice for us. With that, let's dive into our next question. So question number 2. What's your take? Okay, so the question specifically asks us for Quinn Slobodian's take on the major fear of neoliberals. So if you go back to the passage, you'd find this particular line that says, in fact, he writes, the neoliberal project was focused on designing institutions, not to liberate markets, but to encase them. And a very interesting term was used there, to inoculate capitalism against the threat of democracy. So in a way, so basically, so neoliberals, because they had this need to inoculate, they felt that democracy poses a threat to capitalism, and that idea is captured by option A, and thus that should be marked as our answer. Here is the next one. Question number 3 on your screen. What's your take? You need to read the relevant part carefully, and if you do that, I am sure you'd be able to answer it correctly as well. Okay, so once again, you need to go back to the right part. So there is this paragraph that introduces Quinn Slobodian. In fact, let me take you back to that part. Let's just go there. Check this. Quinn Slobodian, a historian and associate professor at Wellesley College, is taking another approach. So prior to this, you have been given the approach of the critics and the supporters. So basically covers the entire gamut. So here it says it's taking another approach. So this another approach in a way tells you that in the context, it's a new approach that has not been taken so far. Right? So what is that new approach? The new approach is neoliberalism less as a project of economics and more of law, statecraft and institution building. So this is the fresh take that we have. And if I go to the question, I think the option that comes closest to it is going to be your option C. Not an economic issue, but rather a political one. So ideally, yeah, this law, statecraft, institution building, all of these, if you combine, you'd essentially be coming to politics. Option A, Quinn sees the negative fallout of neoliberalism which have been ignored by the conventional view. No, there have already been critics, so he was not the first one to do that. B, Quinn sees neoliberalism as an attempt to preserve democracy from the threat of capitalism. It's the other way around. It was to preserve capitalism while facing the threat of democracy. So this states the opposite of what the passage states. And D, Quinn sees the demise of neoliberalism long before others. Not something that has been mentioned in the passage. In fact, the passage starts with talking about the fact that people have been writing off neoliberalism for quite a while. Okay, so here is your question number 4. Go ahead, spare thought, and tell me what you think. Okay, so let us dive into question number 4. Each of the following is a characteristic of neoliberalism except, so more or less what? A direct question. If you look at it carefully, option A, B and C have all been mentioned in the second paragraph as being factors of neoliberalism. Now you may look at D and say, hey, isn't that also mentioned in the in the second paragraph, towards the end of the third paragraph, where the critic's viewpoint is given? But then that's the key. D is the view of some critics of neoliberalism. Merely because the critics have offered it does not make it a definitive characteristic, and therefore we can eliminate D. So A, B and C, when I say eliminate D as a characteristic. So because we are looking for which of the following is not a characteristics, we'd go ahead and choose D as our answer. Okay. And with that, let me take you over to this last question type, which does come in not all that often nowadays, but it's a very important question type for us to master because it does directly, indirectly aid us with some of those other question varieties that are asked very frequently. So what do you think? What is the tone of the author in this particular passage? Okay, so in this particular case, because the author has very clearly taken a stance and seems to be leaning away from neoliberalism, the neutral options of narrative and expository can be ruled out. Now, belligerent basically means that he was very aggressive, hostile. We don't have words negative to that extent, and therefore even B can be ruled out, and thus our best answer is option C. So that's about our passage. And with that, before I take you over to the next question, do you happen to have any question, any issue, any concern? Anything that you specifically want to ask about your preparation? So if you do, then please go ahead and share that with me. But here is your next question, which is a best summary question. So I'll give you a paragraph on one slide and the answer choices on the next, but the question is going to ask you to pick up the best summary of the paragraph. So while reading it, take out the key idea, then go to the options, start eliminating. If the need be, use the seeker of your YouTube video to go back to the paragraph and refer to it. So here is the paragraph. Take 20 seconds to read it. Oh, Vedant, difference between liberalism and neoliberalism. I think, yeah, that will turn it into an economics class. We can pick it up later. You can maybe Google it. Or in the class on economics, I do at times take a deep dive into this. So let's see. Okay, so here are the options. Go ahead and dig deep. Okay, so in question number 6, the paragraph talks about this core fact that information is important in a democracy. It should be made available to everybody. Then it goes on to say that there is lack of transparency, which means that the information is not made available in quite a few of the areas or in certain sectors. So when you look at option B, when you look at option C, they go against it. So A says answers are often given, but they need to be deciphered accurately. No, there are answers which are not even given. Health and social services clearly communicated. Again, that is one of those areas where the answers are not available. So B and C, because they offer something contradictory, can be ruled out. D says crores are spent on many areas of growth, but there is no accountability for information. This talks about only the second half and misses out on the first half, which actually is more important and is therefore suffers from heavy deletion and distortion of the main idea, and that leaves us with A as being our best answer choice. Okay, so that's what I had brought for you today. In a lot of people come to us and they talk about what makes them get into an IIM. So we have created this tool where you can input your profile and it can predict a college for you. Additionally, if you're a serious aspirant and you're struggling with managing your preparation along with your job or along with your college, we have this fabulous workshop being taken by Srinivas sir on 17th of March at 11. Make sure that you do attend it and benefit from it. For even more help, even deeper help, you can always opt for our comprehensive program, which has delivered great results. It's already priced very competitively, but you can attend a scholarship test and save up to a cool 90% off. And in case you need to know more, in case you want to sit down with a member of our team one-on-one and talk about your preparation and maybe even the suitability of a course for you, you can just fill up this form and we will get back to you and we can take care of your individual concerns in that particular session. So that's what I had for you today. I look forward to meeting you once again in my next session. In case you are thinking of putting in or learning a bit of vocabulary, you can look me up. I'd be on our YouTube channel at 4 and talking about that. So until then, go ahead, have a great time, and I'll see you soon.